Good morning. Super unorganised this morning, so apologies for that. I don't want that one. Fa, 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 fa. Morning, Alison. Busy morning this morning, so I'm a bit behind. Wait for other people to jump on if anybody else is going to watch, which would be nice. We might go golden glow. I know what I want. This is not quite giving me what I want. So I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to use the one I intended to do. Find it. I'll go for this one. Morning, don't be shy, say hello. So this is Meadow Sparkle, which is a Fairy Hugs paper pad. I'm doing workshops locally to where I live, and I thought it would be fun to combine some of the new collection. Oh, that one will work. Let's have that one. Some of the new collection with some of the old designs. And my workshops have two. The workshops have two sessions, so there's morning and the afternoon. And for the first one, which is on the 2nd of July, in the morning we're going to be using Flower Fairies because there's 22 sets, which is rather nice. I'm going to trim that down a wee bit. And then in the afternoon we're doing gardens and cottages. So that fits with the latest release from Fairy Hugs. I say latest release. Today we've started doing sneaky peeks of the brand new release, which has a fairy tale theme. I'm not doing that today because I saved that for my own Facebook page. Morning, Margaret. yeah, I haven't done workshops for absolutely yonks. But I found a really good space called the Maker's House in Fareham, which is where I live now, and they rent out the space for workshops, which is absolutely brilliant. So let me just, while people are just jumping on, let me just grab bits and pieces. Need a new thingy for that. So this is the Gurwood Cottage as well, which I did pull out, which is here. And I made a mask, and then I discovered I'd got a mask for it. So I've got two masks for it now. That can live in there as well. So we might use a Fairy Cottage, or we might use a Gurwood Cottage, or we might use both. We'll see. Let's put them back in there. Check the backs of your stamps, Julia. This is from Meadow Sparkle. I'm just trying to figure out what we're doing. We are going to use, and we might use that. So we've got the wooden fence and the wooden walkway. We might be bringing some gnomes in. I think we might bring that in again because that just lives here forever. Oh, I tell you what we will grab. Morning, Caroline. Maybe we'll bring in the dancing bees. I was looking for the dancing frogs, but we might bring in the dancing bees, seeing as it's a garden. So I've got a mask for that as well. And we need to figure out, so we have ourselves a plan. So we've got our veggie toadstool, which can go perhaps next to our fairy house. And then we'll be able to have our wooden fence either side, which would be quite rather fantastic. Or what's quite cool, and I've done it a few times, wasn't my idea, is you can have a wooden fence running down the side. So you, instead of having it that way, you can have it that way to make a wooden fence, which is quite cool. So we might bring in that as well. We can put a dancing bee perhaps on the top of the veggie toadstool. But if we're going to bring any gnomes, we need to make sure that we stamp them before we stamp that or that, because we're going to lose the tops of their heads. So that's why I'm doing this. So let's grab our stamping platform. So I know where I'm at. It's always the thing. I think about doing the gnomes normally afterwards, and then you end up with their hats being all messed up because of the fact that you're stamping on top of something else. Obviously you could fussy cut, but that's a bit of a pain. So this is the Press to Impress stamping platform. I said this is from Meadow Sparkle from Fairy Hugs. What's clever? I'm sure I'm not. I'm not at all with it today, as per usual. Too much to do. I want to go to my little social crafting group this afternoon as well. So, okay, so we said we were going to have that there. In fact, let's have it. Oh, this is clever. It is, isn't it? It wasn't my idea. If we are going to see it, we want to have it coming about there like that, and that's going to be there like that. I'm just doing this so I can get my gnomes in, and then we can the rest of it will just fall really nicely. So this gnome here is going to be watering, so he's going to be about there. Doesn't have to be exact. And I think this one here looks very, very grumpy. So let's have him up here telling this one what to do, because gnomes are like that. They like to tell each other what to do. So let's move these out of the way, out of the mow, and we'll pick this up, and then we can move everything out of the way, and just stamp the gnomes. So these are the garden gnomes. For heaven's sake, Julia, get a grip. Put another magnet on, and we will do these in black. My Nocturne. All my ink pads are all over the place. Let's put them so I can get to them easily. That's better. Right. That'd be quite a cool stamp, actually, a Mexican hat, wouldn't it? Now there's an idea. So I have a nice juicy ink pad. So this is Nocturne Versafine Clair, and you can get re-inkers, which is brilliant now. Give it a good old solid press. To be fair, these do stamp really, really well. Give it a chance to release, try and help it. I am right in the corner, but there we've got mess on my desk. I keep meaning to tidy it up, but it's never happening. So, see the gnomes? They look fabulous. Okay, so I mean, I definitely would add some colour to it afterwards. And I quite like using a white gel pen to draw in the beards. Just do some squiggly lines rather than actually colouring it in completely. We give them some attachments in a minute, and we give him some carrots to water as well. But for now, what we want to do is just get those in place so that we can do our other stamping. Let's put this back into the packet so don't lose them. So now we want I've been lazy. I haven't cut the entire mask out. I've only cut the top of him. I should really have cut the whole thing, but I couldn't be bothered. So this is just going to go over his hat. And when you cut your masks out, cut them slightly inside the line. They stick better as well if there's more of them. And have I got one for him? Oh, I haven't got one for him. Oh no. Right. That was well thought out, wasn't it? Right, so we'll quickly do one. Where's my Grumpy? Where's my Mr. Grumpy? There's my Mr. Grumpy. And we need a piece of musket sheet. Very frugal with this. Try and just keep all the tiny little bits, so he'll fit on there, you see. Doesn't matter if it doesn't stamp very well. You just need to make sure you've got that outline. It's perfect anyway, of course he is. Is everybody out in the gardens, do you think, today? Don't forget, you can always watch this on the Crafting with All Brands group, and you can also catch it. I'll download it and pop it on my YouTube channel as well. Like that. So I only need the top of him, so I'm only going to cut from his hands, and I'm cutting slightly, ever so slightly inside the line. That means when you stamp over, because there's always, even though these are really thin, there's always a bit of a lip, and you don't always get right the way up to the line, or you don't. So oh, so itchy eye. So if you cut inside the line, then you stand more chance of actually getting the stamp to go up to the line, if you see what I mean. Okay, that's all I'm doing with that. Cut that bottom bit off, and I'm going to keep that bit because I might have a shell or something I want to mask off. Do be careful though, because the VersaFine Claire does stay wet quite a long time, and so you'll end up with it all over your fingers. So just be careful. Of course, because you don't cut it out properly, it does mean that normally it's easier for you to get into it. It isn't today, of course. Okay. Always keep the backing sheets, and then I put them back on the backing sheets. Let me give that a bit of a twist so I can see what I'm doing. I think that's on, as near as it can be. Right, let's get our scene started. So if we want to have the house in front of the toadstool, and we're going to have it so that the pathway is going to be about there, I think, over his head. So if we want this in front, then we've got to stamp this first. If we want this in front, then we stamp this first. I think we'll have the toadstool in front, actually. Because we can. How big? Let's just check. Have I got a proper mask first? I might change my mind. I have. Right, we can do that. Win-win. So let's have this as if it's like almost like a, oh, what's it called? A lamppost kind of thing. Where's my fence gone? Oh, gee, where is it? That one. I don't want to have to do this twice. Yeah, that's good. That's good. That works. That's where it's going to be. Might be a bit of a challenge getting the leaves to stamp behind it, but we'll rise to that challenge. But we did want it over a little bit, didn't we? Because we want to have a bit of the fence going. Just think about it. Take your time and think about it. You won't see all of it, so you only see a bit, but that's fine. Right, have it to one side, and then pick up the toadstool, because that's going to be in the front. You have to get your head around what you want in the front, and that's what you stamp first. So let's go for acorn. Everything I'm using I have in stock on my website. I'm just going to go again because we've got just a little bit of an area where it just needs inking again. Make sure I pick up the right ink, which is my normal thing of not doing. I think I've got a little bit of glitter on there as well, which is a bit, I don't know where it's come from because I don't use glitter very often. It's getting that bit there down the stem that I'm most concerned about. That's it. So there's our veggie toadstool. Ooh, bring it in so you can see. And then we're going to mask this off. Now normally I do actually, I mean, even though we're just going ahead and doing it, normally I'll kind of pause and perhaps, you know, do something else and then come back to it, just to get that ink a little bit of time to dry a bit before I put my mask on, because it does actually stick better when the ink's a bit drier. This paper does actually absorb inks really quickly, so for example, if you want to colour in, you can't actually move the colour around. You have to, if you want to get it, you know, have it lighter, then you want to blend it with water before you actually do it. So that's our veggie toadstool, and we need our mask out the back. I did have another mask with this, with just the bottom end, so I don't know what I did with that. No matter. The more the better. I'll put that where I'm going to see it. And I need to pop this on here. There's another bit of faffing around. Masks can be very faffy, but they are worth it in the end. Actually, let's try and get what's going on there first, maybe. See, I've cut it inside the line. I don't think the top matters too much. I want to get that fence around it, and I want to get the house on. Right, so now we want the, in fact I've cut, yeah, do I need that? Oh, I do need that. So I'll cut that out, and I'm not going to use it, but I am. So this fairy house is number 18 of Fairy Hugs stamps, and we're over 600 now. So this is one of the very first stamps, and it is one of the first ones I used when I first went on the TV. I think this was in my first or second show for Fairy Hugs. So now we're going to have this. So, and when I cut out the mask for this, I didn't bother masking off those areas, the grassy areas, because it's too fiddly. So now we figure out where we want this. We've got the brick wall down there. I think we'll have it so that we've got a bit the other side. Singy singy. Let's have it like that. It's very mucky, this. I think Catherine Sturrock borrowed this stamp to do some pyrography sort of things. That's, I can't blame her for it or anything. But, should we do this in a slightly darker brown than acorn? So let's do this in pine cone rather than doing it in black, which is what I normally do. You could go for fallen leaves, which is even darker, and it's almost, when you look at it, it looks almost black. I want to use that one. Give it a good old press around where the masks are, because that's where it's going to be most difficult for you. This stamp's great for a new home card, or just if you're building your scenes like we're doing here now. Underneath. I didn't check that it was butted right up to the corner, which was a little bit remiss of me. Okay, excellent. That's moved completely. See, I've got a little bit of a gap either side there, which I didn't want. So I need to press harder around there. What if I need to re-ink this? I think you keep on saying that, actually. Let me just get some re-ink. Why is it always the last one? Okay, there it is. It's never the first one you pick up, is it? Pine cone. Give it a chance to settle in, because otherwise I'll just have all ink and that won't be any good. I am hoping that that didn't move. Otherwise it's going to be very, very disappointing. So you don't need to use much, but you do want to wait for it to settle in. So otherwise it's going to be just a big lump. Because when I made the mask yesterday, that stamped perfectly. It's just typical, isn't it? I think it just must be these ink pads a bit dry. I'm going to be gutted if that's going to move. We've moved. Absolutely gutted. Either side of there. Round his head. Ah, it's fine. Excellent. That's fine. Right. Very happy with that. I can live with that. Right, so we're going to leave that in place. See, that musket sheet's coming up because the ink's wet underneath it. So now we've got to do the fences around. Make sure that is up to the corner now. That's our fairy house. Yeah, it's amazing, isn't it, Caroline? It's only when you think, oh, that's not stamping very well, and then you stamp again and again, and then your image has moved, and you think, oh, if only I'd re-inked. Or it's always the best place to start is actually re-inking before you do anything else. Right, so now we're going to put this mask on here. And this is mainly because we're going to be doing a fence. Where to start, that's the question. We start over there. It's not quite right this side then now. mass driving me mad. Okay. There's a lot of masks on there now. Now we're going to do fence. As I said, I didn't bother cutting around that there. So if we have our fence, obviously that's going to go over that bit there. But I think it's nice for you to see that you can do this. And of course, when you do all the reveal and you take all the masks off at the end, that's when it looks really cool. So we're going to go back to Acorn for this. There it is. There's our fence going that way. And we're leaving that in place so we can do a little fence on this side as well. The little, this is a wooden walkway. Remember, this isn't a fence, it's a walkway. And you can do it with the stone walkway as well. And you can do it with the mini ones. So if you're doing the mini world stamps, then the minis are going to work really well. So that's your wooden walkway. And there. Then I'm going to just swivel this around because I'm going to go off the page a little bit, I think. Yes, I am. Swivel this around. Where would we be without a stamping platform? I never used to use a stamping platform, ever, ever, ever. But now I wouldn't be without it. I just go to it all the time. I don't do much stamping with a block now. This is the wooden fence. So this is going to go about here, I think. Let's have that post just on the edge there, I think. And I've used Acorn again, which is what I used on the wooden walkway and on the veggie toadstool. So I've got to press around where my masks are so we can get a continuous line if we can, or as near as we can. Okay, so I think that's all we need to leave the masks on for. So we'll do a bit of a reveal and then we can add some other elements as well. That's the wooden fence. Let's turn it round again. Can't work with it that way, or permanently. Okie dokie. So obviously you need to take your masks off in the order that you put them on. So this was the last one. So we've got that nice fence going down there. And this is actually, because this is darker, this is pine cone, it looks, and the fence is quite open, it looks like it's in front of the fence, which is fine. Let's put this back on the carrier sheet. file it. And as people that come to the workshop can use it. And we can take the rest off in when you order. So here's our gnome in front of the house doing some watering. So that's this one. Oops. Nice pert. And then we take the angry gnome's mask off. He's in front of the fence. I think a stamping platform, it just helps you, doesn't it? So if you're not very confident about stamping, a stamping platform's going to give you that confidence. And this is your veggie toadstool. So that's our scene so far. Looks good, doesn't it? You've made your own collage then, your own kind of stamping scene. Let's just put the carrier sheet back on my veggie toadstool. I've used this one quite a lot. I do like this stamp. Such a useful stamp. And that goes back here. So this stamp set comes with veggies that can hang from the toadstool. There's a really useful vine, and there's a little birdie as well that can sit on the top. So really, really useful. I think I used this a fortnight ago when I was in the group doing a demo. Right, so let's add some other bits and pieces then. So let's give him like a basket to hold. There's two baskets, big one and a smaller one. He's a grumpy chap, so he's going to get the big one. Or what we could do is we could give him, let's give him tools, because there's a set of tools as well, which has got like one of the old-fashioned rakes, a spade, and then a trowel and a little hand fork and a little watering can as well. So let's give him one of the, let's give him this, I think. He can be holding that. Telling this chap a bit of a story. Let's do that one first, and I've got to do that. I'm going to do that in black. There's my black. There's my black, because I did him in black. Oh, I don't need to, do I? Yes, but I'm going to just do it in black, because then it'll look right on his hand. So much detail in this little garden fork kind of thing. It's almost like a witch's broom. So if you've got the witchy dwellers, actually, and I think they're all on brooms, unfortunately. Maybe we should have some witchy dwellers that aren't on brooms, or a smaller witch you could have on here, or you can put one of the dancing bees on it if you wanted to. So there's our fork. So he's holding his fork. Obviously, when you have a bit of colour, then that's going to pop. And then he's going to be watering. He could be watering his veggies, or we could give him some flowers, because Juniper has a little tiny flower. If I can find her. Probably not. Where are you, Juniper? She's hiding. Right, we just give him some carrots. Actually, I should have done him a bit more of an angle, because he's aiming almost straight. Get off me, get off me. Let's do the carrots in a I don't want to do them in orange. You could do them in orange and then actually go over just the stems in green, but I'm just going to do them in green. You could do them in purple. You can get purple carrots now, can't you? Or they might be parsnips. Mightn't they? They might not be carrots. I think they are, but they could be something else. Where's my acetate? We want more than one carrot. So as these are dirty now, let's give him a few carrots. This is, not that one, Shady Lane. Now we give him one more. That's up there. And we could have loads behind here as well if we wanted. But we're going to have something else there, I've just decided. Okay, you could bring in the honey ones as well with the dancing bees, so you could have some honey ones in the garden, which are like little beehives. Let's put him back before I lose him. And acetate. So, dancing bees. So let's have, we could have this cheeky chappy here, who is actually going to be playing up the gnomes in a minute. I don't know what he's going to be doing, but he's going to be doing something naughty. And we're going to have one on top of there. And we're going to have one flying in just over here. So we're going to have three. Make sure we're right in the corner. And we're obviously going to do these in black. Get rid of some of the milk cards. Or I picked the wrong one up. I do love making scenes with the Fairy Hug stamps because so many of the collections work together, and you don't need to create the same scene twice at all. Even with the Fire Fairies, if you restrict yourselves to each individual set, there's so many different ways that you can use them. I've not used my dancing bees for a little while. I think this was the first collection this year, if my memory serves me right, but it might not be because my memory's rubbish. Let's see, might need to do these again. Oh no, they look fabulous as they are. I mean, the Meadow Sparkle, let's move down a bit, come on. The Meadow Sparkle paper pad has got quite dark bits in it, but obviously once you colour it in, they're going to pop. And you could, of course, fussy cut if you wanted to, but I don't want to. I'll cut masks out, but fussy cutting is just not me, if I can help it. Right, so there's our dancing bees. I feel like we ought to be having something on the fence here. So what we could do is bring in did see it. Where is it? There it is. No, I don't think that's going to work. Let's go back to our veggie toadstool. See whether this chap will fit on the fence. He's a bit big, isn't he, to fit on the fence because... What else have we got? I'm sure I've got my mini cats in here somewhere. I do love my mini cats. Oh, we could have an owl. Where's my mini cats? Or we could have one of the dwellers. Or a reading hedgehog. That'd be a bit random. Or a bunny. We could have a bunny. Where's my cats? There's my cats. Ah, there we go. That's what we want. But if I put him up there, he's after the bee. He's a lot bigger than gnome, isn't he? I like that one. He's quite an artist, that cat, isn't he? If he's actually lying on his back on the fence. I wonder if I can do that. Yeah, he's gonna have a pole in his bottom. Maybe we'll do that anyway. Have a cat lying down. No, I think that's a bit too random. The other ones are facing the wrong way. I want that one facing that way. So that's not happening. What have I got here? This is always a faffy bit. So that's a big hair. I want that one facing that way. They're all facing the wrong way. Right. We could have an owl. He's big. That one's not too bad. Again, maybe the bees. Let's go to the dwellers. These are reading dwellers, so these are the ones that got a book in their hand. And there's no reason why a fairy can't sit and read a book in a garden. So this one is sitting actually on the post, reading. I'm only going to bring in the one dweller, I think. Oh, actually, we could have one up here. I lied. I'm going to bring in two. So this one's going to be sitting on the top there, reading. Yeah, let's just use the two. We do those in black as well, so they stand out. So you can have lots of fun. Lots of fun. Take a pile of stamps and just use them. There we go. There's our dwellers sat. They're always reading. Always reading. So, don't know if we can fit in the sentiment or not. I might put a moon on. Thinking a moon might just fit nicely up there. Let's bring in the moon. So obviously we're going to swivel so we can fit it in. This is one of the full moons. You get 2 full moons, and these fit in the moon tree. Let's bring in that one there, and then we can give it a bit of a halo. I used this a fortnight ago for on my tag, I think. Do this in black as well. Should we do it in black or grey? Let's do it in grey. This is Morning Mist. So I didn't really have a plan today as such, except that I wanted to do a garden scene and I wanted to use the fairy house. So this is what happens, and the garden gnome. And this is what happens when you just use a load of stamps that are on your desk. Lots of fun. This could be in a journal. Obviously, you could have it as a picture that you frame. Did I get all that? I did. It looks weird because it's off of my page. Okay, so there's a moon. And I'm going to see if I can get a sentiment of some sort on here. Sure I can get something on. Probably not a big one. I know what we'll have, because I think this scene will make you smile. So that's what we're going to have. Magnets, don't you just love them? So obviously, like I say, I'll colour in, and we would, this isn't big enough I don't think, but we pop it onto a bit of black card as well, and obviously once you've matted and layered it, it's going to look absolutely fab. And I will, when I've coloured it in, I will share to group what it looks like. So thank you very much for joining me, and do watch out for the brand new Fairy Hugs release, which is being released on Tuesday. It's on Create and Craft, and then I'll be selling it on my website from midnight on Tuesday, and I'll be doing a Facebook Live and a YouTube Live on my own page on Monday morning at 11. So enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.